So it's now my pleasure to introduce Alani Ferreira, who was diagnosed with Stargardt disease when she was 12. Since then, she has completed both her BCom in strategic management and her BCom honors in management with distinction, and is working in agricultural. Above this, Alani spends her spare time in the pool and has represented South Africa at 2 Paralympic Games, at the Commonwealth Games, and last week at the World Swimming Championships, where she achieved an amazing bronze medal in the SB12 100-meter breaststroke. Thank you. Alani is amazing because actually swimming wasn't her first choice. She really wanted to be an ace Wimbledon tennis champion. And when her Stargardts got so bad, she actually had to abandon tennis and then thought, what can I do? And she had been swimming as a child. So she took to her swimming career with the same dedication that she has applied to the rest of her life. Alani is accompanied in her adventures through life with her sidekick and guide dog Gatsby. Alani is a gifted and inspiring motivational speaker. And I must apologize, we have some technical issues, so we are patching her through by phone.
So thank you so much for that introduction, Claudette. I really do appreciate it. I did send through some slides. I don't know if you are able to show them or not. And if someone could just assist me by clicking the next slide, also would be greatly appreciated. But as Claudette said, I am Alani. So I am 25 years old and I am based in Pietermaritzburg, and I've basically been there my entire life. So I obviously started off as almost everyone did who has a IRD, living your normal happy life as a child and just going on doing your basic things. I've always been very much a busybody. So if I wasn't busy at pre-primary school, I was doing my extra music classes, I was busy with my learn to swim. So you would always catch me busy doing something because I really do have a bee in my bonnet. And then with my journey with my sight, I was actually the person with the best sight in the family. We actually have myopia that runs in the family, so my brother was wearing glasses from a young age, but I was the one that was lucky and had the good sight. But when I was about 7 years old, we started noticing some issues with reading, where I would swap my E's and my R's around. I would sometimes repeat a line. So we honestly just thought it was a tracking issue. So from there, my parents sent me for various reading tests to try and figure out, what is the problem. It then went from going to the optometrist, and it was your basic, Alani needs reading glasses. Me being the stubborn person I am, I refused to wear them because they simply did not work. But it was assumed that I was obviously a normal naughty child who just did not want to wear their glasses because it was not considered as cool. And so the journey carried on, and it was just that, I should be wearing my glasses, and I went on with my life. I was very passionate about music, so I was a piano player, I was playing hockey, I was playing tennis, so I was still busy doing all of my busy things. And then when I was 12 years old, my piano teacher noticed that my sight reading was particularly bad. Not that I was ever really good at it, but it really was just not going well. And my tennis coach also noticed that I was reacting to the ball a bit late. So I would only start moving once it was over the net, which is obviously not normal. So we went to the optometrist 3 times in that year. Every time it was, there's nothing wrong, everything looks fine. And then I decided to actually go to a different optometrist. He took me in on a Saturday morning. He just shone the light in my eye and immediately said, okay, there's something quite seriously wrong. He has an idea what it is, but he obviously cannot diagnose me. So we made the appointment with the ophthalmologist, and he obviously confirmed that I was going to go blind. It was quite a shock to my family, as I was known as the one with the good eyes. obviously, I'm the first person in my family to even have a retinal disorder. We had no clue what the future meant for me now. I wanted to be a vet. I mean, I can't be a vet if I can't see. I can't be at Wimbledon playing tennis if I can't see. So it was almost like, what do you do? How do you handle the situation? And I think it was almost more difficult for my parents than it was for me, because I just carried on, where they almost had to handle the situation and try to support me as best possible. So from there, we decided that I would stay at the school I was at. So I went to Epworth Primary School, and then I went to Epworth High School, mainstream private girls' school, and I was lucky enough to get a music scholarship for high school. So I started playing the saxophone, I was playing my piano. We obviously had to enlarge everything to make it work. But yeah, we kind of really just motored on and found ways to make things work, even if it really did seem quite bizarre at the time. So I was quite lucky, as they say, so someone who is following the rules and doing everything by the book. And I loved school, and I would go back to school any day if I could. And I was lucky enough, I obviously matriculated. I only got one distinction because my mind was on other things, which I will discuss soon. But yeah, from there, we now had to decide, what am I going to study? Because I wanted to be a vet, but that's now not a realistic option. I still took physics, bio, and music as my main subjects, but yeah, going into a medical field was just not realistic for me at the time. So my parents said, okay, cool, you're going to go do business and you're going to go do your BCom. So I ventured down to Stellenbosch for my first year, and it was, in all honesty, an absolute disaster. I got hit by a car within my first month of being there. My appendix burst, so I had to go and get that removed. I was concussed again later in the year. So it honestly was just a disaster year, and I normally don't like even mentioning it, but I actually failed my first year of university. So my parents said, very sorry, but you're coming home. There was no option of changing my course and staying down there. It was, you coming home, you need your support system. So I packed my bags and I came home, as angry as I was about it. And I started again, and I started my BCom in Strategic Management at Varsity College. And honestly, just having the smaller classes made a massive difference to me. Instead of there being 400 people in the lecture hall, there were only 20 of us. So I could ask the lecturer to repeat something or to show me something closer, or even just to make sure that I was awake, because I do get distracted quite easily. And I loved my BCom. I enjoyed it. My accounting is still my favorite module, and I really did enjoy my degree, and I ended up finishing with distinction compared to failing my first year. So from there, I decided, okay, I'm not ready to go work yet, so I want to go do my BCom honors. I started with that. I thought, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Got no cooking clue what's going on. But apparently that's normal for the first 2 months. And luckily it got better after that. And I really started enjoying what I was studying again, and I had to do my research, and I absolutely loved it, even though I despise reading. I finished my research paper, I finished my exams, and I was lucky enough to finish with distinction once again. And just thinking of failing my first year to now actually having an honors with distinction, I don't know how it happened, but I think it was we adjusted according to what worked for me. And being as stubborn as I am, I was determined to make things work. If you could please go to the next slide, please. So that is obviously my more personal life. But outside of that, I have a strange addiction to water, and I really enjoy being in the pool. But I've always said this, I'm not a natural swimmer. I'm only 165 tall. I'm not very big built. I'm really not a natural swimmer. So when I was 10 years old, I like to say I retired from swimming because my nickname was Lane Zero. I really was not very good. There was no future in me for swimming, so I stopped stopped it right then and there and went into focusing onto my tennis because that was my dream. But obviously when I got diagnosed, I tried to play tennis for as long as I possibly could, but it eventually got to a point where it was no longer realistic for me to play it. I could not get to the ball in time, I couldn't see the ball, so I had to move on and do something else. And it was recommended to me by my low vision practitioner that doing sport is a fantastic stress reliever. So it was really recommended that I continue with sport. So I decided to go back to swimming, which I never thought I would go back to because I really wasn't very good. And so this journey started, and I decided when I was 13 that it was my dream to go to the Paralympic Games. And honestly, quite a few people laughed right in my face. They thought I was absolutely ridiculous and absolutely absurd to have this dream. It was not going to happen. But I was quite determined, and I had my goals, and I wanted to work towards it. And then the 2016 Paralympic Games would fall in my matric year, but I was still determined that this is what I wanted to go do. So I went to morning training, afternoon training. I would then go to choir practice or band practice in the evening, so I really was constantly busy, but I had my goal and I wanted to achieve it. So then in 2016, I went to the Paralympic national trials, and I was very blessed to swim 4 qualifying times for the games. And then on my 18th birthday, actually, the team announcement was made, and I was lucky enough to be one of the 3 females that would go represent South Africa in swimming at the games. It was my first international, so I had no cooking clue what I was going into. I was actually so nervous that my first race was my 100-meter butterfly, which if you are a swimmer, you know is an absolutely deathly race. And I was so nervous that I barely flopped into the pool because my legs went numb from fear of walking out onto that pool deck with this massive crowd and shining lights. It was hilarious. And I really do like to believe that I've grown from that moment. But it was my first race, it was my first experience, and I think it's a special story to tell that you really do have to learn and learn from your mistakes and grow from them, hopefully. So that was my first international, and then I went on to go to the Tokyo Paralympic Games, and as Claudia did, I've gone to Commonwealth Games, I think it was last year, and I just came back from my 4th World Championships. And honestly, it was just a dream for me to go in the first place because, as I said, I'm not a natural swimmer. I really do put in many, many hours to even just make the times that we need to make to qualify. So then I unfortunately got the class down in the disability class for vision. So obviously with my eyes deteriorating, I got moved down a visual class, and it changed my world rankings completely. So I now all of a sudden had this opportunity to potentially medal, where there was always just my dream to make a final or qualify. It was now the opportunity to get this big shiny thing. And I must say, I finished that race. I had no clue where I had come because I obviously can't see the times. And I was just anxiously waiting to get out the pool to please just go and ask someone what happened. And yeah, they told me I won the bronze, and I honestly just burst into tears because it was more than a dream come true. I mean, I'd never even dreamt of this moment. But now I'm already back home. I'm busy planning for my preparation to the Paris Games. And so as I've already become my busy bee self, and I'm looking at the next goal. And so now the next main one for swimming is the Paris Paralympic Games. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of sacrifices and hard work. But I'm excited to hopefully feature there as well. If you please go to the next slide. So obviously I can sit here and talk about all of these wonderful achievements and things that I have been able to do. But it definitely doesn't go without saying that there has been hard times. It hasn't always been easy. I've had to overcome certain barriers. I've had to overcome certain challenges. Many sacrifices have been made, but ultimately it was my choice, and it was my choice in what I wanted to achieve. And it's always been a thing of mine that I want to live life to my absolute fullest. So I want to travel the world. I want to have a good laugh. I want to never have a dull moment. And that is actually one of the reasons why I enjoy my visual impairment, because there really never is a dull moment. Whether it's you mistakenly falling down the stairs and having a fat laugh with your friend about it, or calling someone the wrong name and just being humorous. There really is never a dull moment, and I actually appreciate those little awkward moments where I make a mistake, simply because you actually get to laugh about it and bring some humor into your life. It's never a boring day, which is something I really do love and appreciate. But I couldn't do any of these things without my support system. So obviously my parents are my number one. They put up with me every single day. And they've always supported me in my dreams, which I'm very, very lucky to have. I've obviously got my friends around me who are so supportive and join me on all of my crazy adventures. And then, I'm sorry to say, but not very sorry to say, I am definitely pro guard dog. And for those of you who can see on the right of the screen is my yellow Labrador Gatsby. Just to give a description for those who can't see, he's got his little harness on, and you can see his big, broad face he is literally smiling with his little pink tongue sticking out. He has brought me so much joy and so much confidence, and honestly, venturing through life with him has been incredible. I have also used a white cane. I was using my cane while I was overseas now, obviously just because it's logistically getting Gatsby over is a nightmare. So if you are comfortable using a white cane, I support that as well. I love using my cane when that situation comes around where Gatsby can't join me. But he has been an absolute joy, and one of the things I still want to do with him is go for a hike, which I'm so excited about because I have a little bit of a break now. So that's the next thing that I'm going to go and do with him. If you could please move to the next slide. So one of the hardest things for me when hearing that I was going to go blind was that I loved photography, and I still do love photography. And you honestly go and think, how in the world is someone who can't see going to do photography? I mean, I can't even see where the birds are on the tree through a pair of binoculars. So it has been quite a difficult journey, but I have been determined to still do my photography. And the photos on the screen are actually from, I think it was in the past 6 months, of some shots that I took recently. So it's actually quite incredible with technology nowadays. How I do my photography is I connect the camera to my phone via Wi-Fi, and I can control everything on that camera through my phone. I can control the aperture, I can control the shutter speed, everything. I can see the image. I can even change the autofocus and what it's focusing on. And the brilliant part of this is that I can use my phone accessibility features to do all of this. It obviously takes a lot of patience to find the animal because my parents have to describe to me from a certain point where this animal is. And me being the crazy person I am, bird photography is my favorite, and of course it's the littlest things that I'm trying to find. But I'm lucky that if it's high contrast or if they're sitting on a stick, for example, you can then quite easily find them. Sure, so that is my visually impaired photography. But the point of this all is that it's, I think, very key to choose how you want to live your life with a visual impairment. It's very easy to crawl into your little box, and I don't want to say feel sorry for yourself because you obviously have reason to have bad days. We all have bad days. But you can give up on the things that you love, or you can find a way to make things work. And ultimately, it is your choice as to whether you are willing to make the sacrifices and the changes to make it work, or if you want to readjust and find new goals. That's also, completely your choice. But I think something that has really kept me going and has almost made me fall in love with my visual impairment are the goals that I've set along in this journey of mine, and how I've constantly kept on working to those goals. And when you achieve them, it really is an incredible feeling. So my advice to anyone with a retinal disorder, or even without one, is to make the choice, set some goals, and work towards them. And I promise you, it is the most rewarding feeling when you achieve those goals. Please don't give up on what you love. Even if there's a bit of a workaround, it really can be an incredible life to be lived. Thank you.
Alani is such an inspiration. That can-do attitude, as you've heard, she's actually makes things work. And what she finished with was to me, incredibly profound, that it's your choice. You choose whether you're going to be a victim or a victor. And she has chosen victor status. And I think we can all be inspired by her, whether we're visually impaired or not, to just say that it is your choice. Your life is your own creation. And she has created for herself a totally magical life. And I know we're going to ask Anthony Dodds to come to the mic. So Anthony Dodds is a great supporter of Retina South Africa. And just to remind you that he's got a tremendous display of his latest technology, but I'll leave it up to him. So Anthony is from Sensory Solutions. Anthony, the floor is yours, and so is the mic.
Thank you very much to Retina SA, especially Claudette, for again inviting us to be part of your AGM. It's been an ongoing tradition for many, many years, since we started in 2004, which is almost 20 years ago. Sensory Solutions is a company with considerable experience in providing technology solutions and making the lives of blind and visually impaired people more accessible. Just in a brief, our products include things like electronic magnifiers, screen reading, screen magnification software, braille displays, and note takers, braille book readers and recorders. These devices are used in schools by school children, in universities, government organizations, as well as corporates and NGOs. Our aim is basically through our products to see what solutions works best in each environment. So for us, there's not really a one size fits all. We've got varying technologies from small magnifiers up to big desktop magnifiers, and each and every one is specifically designed and chosen for your specific needs. So I invite you that's here, as well as people that can't make it, to visit our website, www.sensorysolutions.co.za. All our products are there, and then we're also just a phone call away, an email away. Our team are ready. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.